What if the biggest cybersecurity risk to your organization is not inside your organization at all? It may already be entering through a trusted vendor, a cloud provider, a software partner, or supplier that nobody has assessed deeply enough. Welcome to the Cybersecurity Supply Chain and Third Party Risk Auditor program from CSRR Training Academy. This is not simply another vendor risk course, it is a complete four-level professional journey from understanding third party exposure to assessing controls, auditing evidence, responding to incidents, and leading enterprise wide TPRM programs. Over 4 progressive weeks, you will build the confidence to audit the ecosystem, protect the enterprise, and lead with trust. Because organizations no longer need professionals who only distribute questionnaires, they need auditors who can see the risk behind the answer. Your organization may have strong firewalls, experienced security teams, and mature internal controls, but your security is still only as strong as the weakest third party connected to your ecosystem. Think about the number of external relationships supporting a modern business, vendors, SaaS platforms, cloud providers, contractors, managed service providers, technology partners, open source components, and even fourth party suppliers you may never have directly approved. Every connection can create business value, but every connection may also create another path to your systems, data, customers, and operations. A single compromised supplier can send risk across hundreds of connected organizations. This program teaches you how to stop viewing vendors as isolated contracts and start seeing the complete digital ecosystem that must be mapped, assessed, monitored, and governed. Third party risk is no longer only a procurement issue or a cybersecurity team's operational concern. It has become a board level priority. Why? Because the consequences are now impossible to ignore. Data breaches, service outages, regulatory action, supply chain attacks, compliance failures, financial losses, reputational damage, concentration risk, and vendor lock in. When a critical third party fails, leadership cannot simply say the vendor was responsible. Boards, customers, regulators, and investors expect the organization to demonstrate that risks were identified, evidence was reviewed, contractual protections were established, and critical suppliers were continuously monitored. Boards do not need more completed questionnaires, they need assurance. And assurance comes from skilled professionals who can convert complex third party exposure into clear evidence based business decisions. Many organizations already have a vendor management process. They may have onboarding forms, security questionnaires, risk scores, and approval workflows. But here is the uncomfortable question. Are those processes truly identifying risk, or are they only producing paperwork? The market needs professionals who can go beyond checking yes, no, or not applicable. Organizations need auditors who can identify critical vendors, challenge incomplete answers, examine supporting evidence, calculate inherent and residual risk, understand fourth party exposure, and communicate findings to leadership. Real auditing requires curiosity, professional skepticism, business understanding, and the confidence to ask one more question when the evidence does not feel complete. This program developed that judgment. You will not simply learn what to ask, you will learn why to ask it. What evidence should support the answer, and when the answer should not be accepted. Professional capability is not built through one presentation, one framework, or one vendor questionnaire. It develops progressively. That is why this program has been designed as a complete four-level journey. At level one, you will understand the risk how third parties connect to the organization and where exposure begins. At level two, you will assess the controls using structured methods and defensible evidence. At level three, you will audit deeper, challenge vendor responses, investigate incidents, and validate remediation. And at level four, you will govern the ecosystem, communicate with leadership, and build mature enterprise TPRM programs. 4 weeks, 4 levels, one connected professional transformation. Whether your goal is career growth, consulting capability, internal audit excellence, or leadership responsibility, This journey helps you move systematically from awareness to assessment to assurance and finally to strategic influence. Every effective audit begins with a strong foundation. Before assessing controls, you must understand the organization's third party ecosystem, who the vendors are, what services they provide, what systems they access, what data they process, and what would happen if they fail. In level one, you will learn how to map the vendor lifecycle, distinguish between third parties and fourth parties, identify inherent risks, classify business criticality, and create practical risk tiers. You will examine cloud, SaaS, outsourcing supplier, data access, and system access dependencies. You will also understand how procurement, legal, privacy, cybersecurity, compliance, and business owners must work together. The practical outcome is powerful. You will be able to identify, classify, and prioritize vendors based on real business impact and cybersecurity exposure. Because when every vendor is treated equally, the most dangerous risks can remain hidden. Once you know which vendors matter most, the next challenge is determining whether their controls can truly protect your organization. Level 2 teaches you how to move from assumption to evidence. You will learn to design risk based questionnaires, review policies, evaluate technical and operational evidence, test controls, calculate residual risk, and document findings that can withstand management or regulatory scrutiny. You will assess cloud and SaaS providers' privacy controls, business continuity, contractual requirements, fourth party exposure, remediation plans, exceptions, and risk acceptance decisions. Your learning will be supported by recognized frameworks and industry practices, including ISO standards, NIST guidance, SOC2, CSACM, and shared assessments concepts. By the end of this level, you will be able to perform structured evidence driven assessments, assign defensible risk ratings, and explain exactly why a vendor should be approved, remediated, restricted, or rejected. A vendor may provide policies, certificates, dashboards, and carefully written answers, but an experienced auditor knows that documentation alone does not prove control effectiveness. Level 3 takes you deeper. You will learn how to define audit scope, establish objectives, select samples, validate evidence, test vendor controls, and identify responses that are misleading, incomplete, outdated, or unsupported. You will explore concentration risk, systemic exposures, software supply chain threats, technology dependencies, and realistic attack scenarios. You will also develop the capability to support third party breach coordination, investigate root causes, validate corrective actions, escalate high risk vendors, and track remediation until closure. This is where assessment becomes assurance. You will build the professional confidence to challenge respectfully, investigate thoroughly, and respond rapidly when a trusted third party becomes the source of an enterprise level incident. The highest level of third party risk capability is not simply conducting more assessments, it is building a program that enables the organization to make better decisions at scale. Level 4 prepares you to design and govern an enterprise third party risk management program. You will learn how to establish policies, standards, procedures, governance structures, risk appetite, acceptance criteria, key risk indicators, performance measures, and board level reporting. You will understand how to align security, procurement, legal, compliance, privacy, operations, and senior leadership. You will also learn to manage strategic vendors, assess program maturity, build a multi year roadmap, communicate business value, and lead difficult stakeholder conversations. The outcome is a shift from technical contributor to trusted advisor. You will be prepared not only to identify third party risk, but to influence how the entire organization understands, accepts, reduces, and governs it. Consider where many professionals begin. They depend on generic questionnaires, feel uncertain when reviewing technical evidence, struggle to distinguish a critical supplier from a low risk vendor, and hesitate during audit interviews. Now, imagine the transformation. You can build a risk based assessment strategy, map business dependencies, challenge evidence with professional skepticism, conduct detailed audits, identify fourth party and concentration risk, manage remediation, coordinate incident response, and present risk confidently to leadership. That is the movement. This program is designed to create from questionnaire reviewer to trusted third party risk auditor. The transformation is not only about gaining knowledge, it is about developing professional identity. You begin to see what others overlook, ask questions others avoid, and convert disconnected vendor information into meaningful assurance. That capability can position you to operate as an auditor, consultant, program manager, advisor, or enterprise risk leader. Knowledge becomes valuable only when you can apply it in the workplace. That is why this program is built around practical tools, not theory alone. You will work with resources such as vendor inventory templates, criticality classification models, inherent risk questionnaires, security assessment questionnaires, evidence request checklists, risk rating methods, audit plans, risk registers, evidence trackers, and remediation trackers. You will also explore third party incident checklists, executive reporting templates, KRI dashboards, risk acceptance forms, offboarding checklists, and governance roadmaps. These tools help you translate learning into action. Instead of returning to work and wondering where to begin, you will understand the workflow from identifying the vendor to assessing the exposure, reviewing the evidence, recording the finding, managing remediation, and reporting the final risk decision. The final resource set will depend upon the confirmed program package and delivery terms. Third party risk touches almost every part of a modern organization, which means this program can create value across multiple professional roles. It is highly relevant for cybersecurity professionals, information security teams, GRC practitioners, internal auditors, IT auditors, TPRM professionals, vendor risk analysts, procurement specialists, privacy professionals, compliance teams, risk managers, cloud security professionals, consultants, CSOs, and business owners responsible for supplier or SaaS risk. It is also designed for professionals planning a career transition into cyber GRC or cyber security assurance. You do not need to begin as a senior auditor. What you need is the willingness to understand business risk, examine evidence carefully, ask better questions, and build professional judgment. Whether you are entering this field or strengthening years of experience, the program gives you a structured path to develop relevant, practical, and leadership ready TPRM capability. Third party risk is not a narrow job function. It is becoming a critical capability across cybersecurity, governance, procurement, audit, privacy, cloud resilience, and enterprise risk. The knowledge developed through this program can support opportunities such as third party risk analyst, vendor risk assessor, cybersecurity auditor, IT risk consultant, supply chain security auditor, GRC consultant, TPRM program manager, vendor governance lead, internal audit professional, fractional TPR advisor, and third party risk leader. But the greater opportunity is not only a job title, it is the ability to solve a business problem that organizations cannot afford to ignore. Every organization depends on vendors. Every critical vendor introduces risk, and every leadership team needs professionals who can provide clarity. When you can assess risk, audit controls, communicate findings, and guide remediation, you become valuable not only as an employee, but also as a consultant, advisor, program builder, and trusted business partner. This program is designed as an active professional learning experience, not passive content consumption. The four progressive levels are delivered through a combination of expert led sessions, digital learning modules, practical exercises, case study discussions, realistic audit scenarios, templates, assessments, and peer interaction. Each week builds upon the previous level. You first understand the ecosystem, then assess the controls, audit the evidence, respond to incidents, and finally govern the program. This connected delivery structure helps you retain knowledge and understand how individual TPRM activities operate as part of one complete life cycle. Program timings, start dates, delivery mode, session duration, assessment methodology, certificate requirements, language, and support period will be communicated within the confirmed program terms. The objective is not simply to complete sessions. It is to build a repeatable capability that you can demonstrate in interviews, assignments, assessments, consulting discussions, and real organizational environments. Many traditional courses explain framework definitions, provide a generic questionnaire, and finish before participants understand how to apply the learning in a real vendor environment. This program is different because it develops the complete auditor journey. You begin with fundamentals, but you do not remain there. You progress into risk based assessment, evidence driven auditing, incident handling scenarios, remediation management, executive reporting, program governance, and leadership communication, right? You gain practical tools, structured methodologies, and a clear L1 to L4 progression path. The goal is not to make you memorize more terminology. The goal is to help you think like an auditor, communicate like an advisor, and operate like a professional who understands both cybersecurity controls and business consequences. It is not just vendor risk training. It is capability development from understanding the first vendor connection to leading a mature enterprise third party risk management program. Professional growth should not be viewed only as a training expense. It should be evaluated as an investment in capability, confidence, credibility, and future opportunity. The complete L1 to L4 package is offered at RAL 14 999, providing the full four-level third-party risk auditor journey. Professionals who prefer to begin with one specific level may enroll individually at RAS 6 779 per level. Corporate team packages are also available for organizations seeking customized capability building cohorts. Early enrollment and group benefits may include additional learning modules subject to the confirmed offer terms. The separate assessment or certification fee is RAL 1499 payable to WDTT where applicable, and GST is additional as stated in the program terms. Compare this investment with the value of gaining a structured audit methodology, practical professional tools, stronger interview confidence, consulting capability, and the ability to manage one of today's most important enterprise cybersecurity risks. Your vendors are already connected to your business. They may access your systems, process your data, support your customers, operate your infrastructure, or deliver services. Your organization cannot function without. The question is not whether third party risk exists. The real question is, do you have the capability to identify it before it becomes an incident? This program gives you a structured path to assess vendors, audit cybersecurity controls, identify supply chain exposure, coordinate third party incidents, manage remediation, and lead enterprise TPRM programs. Do not remain limited to forwarding questionnaires and collecting documents. Develop the ability to examine evidence, challenge assumptions, communicate risk, and provide leadership with trusted assurance. Visit www.c00.com, email support at c00.com, or WhatsApp hi to +91 9958512 for enrollment and corporate program details. Assess with evidence, audit with confidence, and lead with trust. Your journey as a third party risk auditor begins now.